Yeah! Today's episode, we're gonna be talking about horror in film and how it's subjective, and I'm just gonna ramble about horror movies and the different types and whatnot, and how to implement what you find scary into your own personal film. You don't want to miss this one, trust me. Oh, ow!
Oh my god.
Dude!
Oh my god, are you
Ow,
okay?
what?
Is there blood?
Why do we use a real one, man?
Is there blood?
We don't have props? Hello everyone, and welcome to possibly the scariest episode of this channel. Episode 2, because sequels are always scarier. Did you know that? So, one of the things that I really want to emphasize in this episode is, well, what is horror? Possibly one of the most subjective things out there besides comedy is, well, horror is what you and I find horrifying or scary. But first, let's see what the Oxford Dictionary says about horror. I read off the Google Docs. Horror, intense feeling of shock, fear, and disgust. What? That could literally be anything. I look at kids and gag sometimes. It's literally what you may find uncomfortable, disgusting, horrific, whatever. Like I said, extremely subjective. That goes with movies and entertainment. What you may find scary, I may not, and vice versa. For example, just look at this skit. You're out in your home, you know, watching a nice little movie in your projector, you know, it's all good, and you hear a noise. You turn to it, and some big man with a big knife comes out of the doorway. What do? Well, I'd just hurt the guy. I'd beat his brains out. That's just what I would do, and that's why I don't find movies involving serial killers or anything like that particularly scary, because I personally feel like I would know what to do. Not saying that I'm prepped for these scenarios, that's just insane. Then again, I'm Floridian. I just know what I would do, so therefore I can't really relate to the characters in it. I feel comfortable that I could possibly get away with minimal injuries. Maybe with a missing arm. I'm willing to sacrifice an arm, I don't care. I've lost more. Now imagine this, say exact same scenario. You hear a noise, you're watching a movie, whatever, and you hear a noise. You go investigate it, you see into the darkness, and you just see a shape. What? I cannot express how, to me, as ridiculous as it may seem to you, how scary that is to me. Something that I do not know is out there. I don't know what it can do. I don't know how it got here. So many unknowns that I wouldn't know how to respond to, which I guess it just falls into the fear of the unknown. That's what I find scary. I don't know if you guys do, but hey, all I know is that I could beat the out of a serial killer. A ghost will whoop my ass, and has. I can guarantee it. It's like one of those back memories that you just kind of like lock away.
You repressed a ghost beating the shit out of you.
A ghost beating the out of me when I was 12. It happened. It was in Mexico, and I could prove it. I know what to do in the physical world. I know what to do to that person, but I don't know what to do in case of a demon. I'm not really the most religious person out there, so I can't hold a crucifix and say, "Be gone! Be gone!" I can't do that because I wouldn't know. I'm going off to a huge tangent right now, so let's just go over the genres out there. There's monster, found footage, paranormal, serial killer, slasher, schlock, and then there's, you know, the most popular one. Sorry, I had to do it. It's my only chance to spook you guys. It's cheap jump scares, and even then, some jump scares are not cheap. It's all about suspense. I just want to use an example of something that a lot of people don't find scary now, but still holds up. The Exorcist, 1973. Am I right? Editing person, am I right? Shave me if I'm not. The Exorcist, right? The screen effects don't really hold up nowadays. But the drama in this movie is incredible. A woman trying to, you know, help her daughter, but both science can't help, religion isn't really doing much, There's a part in the movie where she goes up to one of the priests or whatever. I forgot his name. One of my favorite movies. I forgot everyone's name. Wow, I'm totally legit.
You're IMDb the person.
Yeah, I am IMDb the man. She goes up to one of the priests that we, get to learn more of, who's also losing his religion, to telling her to go back to science when science hasn't helped. Who can help this woman? No one. It's that sense of seclusion, helplessness, that drama, really intense and horrifying as well. You have nowhere to go. The point of this is drama and writing will surpass any effect ever. So focus on that. Also, as horror movies as all this time, there's Nosferatu, there's the Dracula, the Frankenstein. With all these scary movies out there, history is bound to repeat itself. So to go off more on that, I'm gonna summon my demon friend, Keon. Keon, come here. Help me in this subject.
Who dare summon me? Hey, everybody. Hey. So, wait, what are we talking about? I forgot. Hey, everybody. So like Alan was saying, Dracula and all of those older movies, they don't really hold up now and they seem really campy, and that's why we have like Twilight, where not only vampires but also werewolves aren't really taken very seriously. They're more of a romantic thing. Honestly, that's kind of how Dracula started out. Dracula and vampires were a phobia of the foreign person, or the other kind of person. That we had someone with an accent who seemed to be very rich for some weird reason, maybe a nefarious purpose, that ends up taking young women and like biting them on the neck, which is an overtly sexual thing. Back then, that was the phobia of the day. Ooh. But now that's kind of sexy. A rich guy that's gonna bite you on the neck? Give me a call. But nowadays, we do have horror movies that are based on similar phobias of the zeitgeist, the collective unconscious of our current population. So for example, something like It Follows, which is very similar in nature, where Dracula was about the other and the foreign person, and like one person influencing a group of people like in a small village, which was common back then. And now we have things like diseases and plagues and sexually transmitted diseases that are pretty common nowadays. And so to have a horror movie that's based...
Try to tell us something?
I gotta get tested. So we have diseases today that are going around, and have a horror movie based on an apparition or a ghost that follows you like a sexually transmitted disease is just absolutely terrifying. And on top of that, it inflicts like bodily injury. But something that's interesting to think about, that movie was really for this generation. The group of people that have to deal with climate change and a bunch of other things that are like these political ideas that generations before us didn't really care too much about. And so now we're given the burden, passed on this horrific, terrifying apparition that is climate change and the economy and all these things that the younger generations now have to deal with. So we're going from something like Dracula, where it's like, oh no, there's a foreign person with spiky teeth, oh no, to now like, hey, global warming, right? So going from something small and contained to something that's more or less a giant infection that can infect a bunch of people and just goes down the line, it's really frightening to current people. And that's what's interesting about horror movies. Like Get Out. Get Out's like weaponized political correctness, which is genius and is completely concurrent to today. And it really matters about people and what they go through today. And that's why it like sinks even deeper. He's trusting these people in a way that most people act, but they do have a nefarious kind of purpose underneath everything. Go watch that movie, it's very good. So like I said, it really just depends on what people in general are scared of. And like we said, with the little foreign people, and now we have the new scary global warming and STDs. I swear I don't have one. I swear. Back to you, Alan.
Why you make me do that, man? Don't make me do that again. And also, scenarios can be horrifying too. Another good example is, well, The Thing. People are trapped in middle of Antarctica or the North Pole or whatever with nowhere to go, because if they go anywhere, they'll freeze to death, with this alien who's disguising himself as one of its own crew members. What do you do in that scenario? That can also be considered horrifying. Go watch The Thing, it's really good. The entire point of this video is find what you find horrifying. Why do you like Saw? Why do you like Friday the 13th? Why do you like the horror movie that you enjoy? What do you find scary in it? Study it and implement it to your own short. For example, our new short that is coming out soon, hopefully this Halloween, To Wake Up Dead. This is based on, you know, Keon had an event. Keon wet his bed. And he saw this thing.
You stole my nightmare.
Yeah.
You made it real.
He literally told me a scenario about his sleep paralysis, and I was like, let's make a movie out of it. Let's just make a short out of it. The reason why I did that is because, well, is the helplessness. Being completely helpless with something unknown coming after you, to me, is horrifying. The sense of losing full control of both your mental state, your physical state, and everything, it's affecting your work and your everyday life. To me, I found that horrifying. You have nowhere to go. You're bound to fall asleep. You're just bound to fall. What do you do when you fall? That, to me, is scary. Start with like maybe a 3-minute skit. A good idea that I actually wanted to practice is there's those stories that are like 1 sentence long and they're like scary as all hell. Try shooting one of those. Why not? See how it goes. Yeah, some movie recommendations for horror. I have my list right here. One of my favorite ones to come out in this postmodern time or whatever, Hereditary. So Hereditary is bonkers. I personally like it because of the drama involving in it. The psychological and supernatural combination, incredible. And it's all about tone. The movie is literally all about tone and trying to survive like this scenario that no one understands. But it's there in your brain. It's in your brain. Alien. Alien is a good example of how location and the scenario is absolutely horrifying. Again, they're stuck in a spaceship with nowhere to go. How do you face this thing that you can't comprehend? How do you defeat it? Human survival. Horrifying. And Evil Dead 2. Well, actually, any of the Evil Deads. It's a good combination of scary and comedy and low budget, saying that anybody can do this, which is why horror movies are possibly the most popular movies out there. You can make it for cheap and then make a lot of money, because damn it, who doesn't want to get spooked? In the comments below, let me know what's one of your, favorite horror movies and why. What do you find scary? I'm totally not going to exploit that. I promise I won't. And tomorrow we're gonna have a live stream. We're gonna watch these god awful movies. We'll post which movies we're watching at which time, so you can watch it with us. It's as if you're not alone or lonely, with no friends. The day of before Halloween. So recommend us some movies to watch. Why not? Come on. There's this movie called Swamp Ape. We're gonna give that a look. I guess it was shot in the Himalayas or something like that. Wait, what is it? Florida, Everglades. The Everglades, the Himalayas. Might as well be. Also, we're gonna be premiering To Wake Up Dead. It only took months. It only took months. So can't wait to see you there. If you like the video, thumbs up. If you don't, thumbs down. Maybe tell us why. I'm willing to change. I am. I'm willing to change. I can change for you. I'll do anything for you. Regardless, have fun, drink responsibly, and moral of the day is, if it's scary, it don't mean it bad, but if it bad, it definitely scary.
You wanna take that again?
Just fucking cut. Just cut.